Welcome, listeners, to Season 3 of Off, Over 50 and Fired Up. Now up with Linda.
And Shelley.
It's really good to be back, isn't it, Shelley? And can you believe it? It's our third season.
No, Linda, it's amazing. It's pretty crazy that we're actually moving into our third season already. And it's really great that we're actually going to be starting our season by talking about how to keep the momentum going in this particular episode.
Right, and it's actually episode 37, and we should be really proud of ourselves, and that's because most podcast shows stop before they even reach number 10.
Well, we have a lot to say, Linda.
Exactly. We do. And we're excited to be here, and we're excited that our listeners have been giving us feedback, too.
Well, one of the things I think, Lynn, that we've been doing that's been really helpful is that we've been trying to pace ourselves. And so we took a little break during the holidays. We enjoyed Christmas, enjoyed the New Year, and we really started to get fired up and start again in mid-February.
And that led us to our rebranding. So everyone, I don't know if you noticed, but I call ourselves Over 50 and Fired Up. And that's because, Shelley...
Why? Because we've moved on, Linda.
We've moved on and we've changed our...
attitude and mindset.
Right, exactly. So not only that, but we took that break to also ramp up our social media presence. And we're excited to now announce that we have new video promos and that we're on Twitter and LinkedIn. It took us a while to figure it out, but, we were a little bit of novices, so.
Novices, Linda. That's a kind description. We're freaking clueless.
It did take us quite a while to figure everything out, but we finally got there, and hopefully our listeners are going to be following us on Twitter and LinkedIn now. So not only did we take some time out to do our social media, but we also took time to focus on our consulting business. So Shelley and I have been working together, and it's been probably the greatest part is that we've been able to do not only this podcast together, but also work on our consulting business.
Right, so you think it's going to be nice to work with you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. It'll only be nice. It'll only be nice when you're not overwhelmed. Because when you're overwhelmed, you get bossy and you get crabby. And then you start to scare me. And the only time I get crabby is when I'm hungry.
Well, I don't know if that's the only time. We'll make sure you don't get overwhelmed, that's for sure. I'll make sure that we kind of stay on track. So, to keep what we've been doing in seasons 1 and 3, before we get started on the actual episode topic of keeping the momentum, Shelley, what's your wine recommendation to start off season 3?
It's called Harvester. It's a nice Cabernet. It's tasty wine from California.
Well, Shell, I've drunk that wine too, and I can tell our listeners that it exhibits a bright, aromatic, and fruity body. It has a really nice long finish.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm so sick of her descriptions. Well, you know what? For me, Lynn, it's just a great freaking wine to drink with your family and friends.
That's right. So, Shelley,
cheers.
Cheers. Now, let's get to our handoff discussion this week, keeping the momentum. And that's not only for your job search, but also any new career path that you may have chosen to pursue.
So, Linda, we're going to have a one-off with a returning guest, Scotty. Hi, Scotty.
Hi there, Shelley. Hi, Linda, and congratulations on season 3.
Well, thanks. We appreciate that. Scott's here to really help us talk about the momentum, how to keep that momentum in the job search.
And it's very important to keep that momentum going because on average, it takes about a month for every $10,000 that you want for salary. And that's cited by the Balance Careers website. And so if you're looking at maybe pursuing something around $80,000 or $100,000, that's almost a year of spending time looking for a job.
That's hard work.
It is hard work.
That's a long time to really have to keep things in the positive direction, right?
Right. So we wanted our listeners to kind of have some pointers. And what have we done to put those pointers together, Shelley?
Well, to your point, we talked about, we leveraged the Balance Careers website, and we created this top 10 list. And we've asked Scotty to come back because he's a real whiz when it comes to talking about how to network and leveraging LinkedIn. And so we're going to ask him to give us some feedback around those.
Excellent. So let's get started. So number 1, of course, is something that not everyone loves to do, and that's get organized. So for me, I love to get organized. I love my little folders. I love, highlighting different things and getting things going. But that's not always everyone's strong suit or bag. But in order for you to make sure that you're pursuing the right opportunities and that you know what's going on, you have to try to have some organization around the job search or whatever career path that you're following now that may be new and different. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think you need to find out what are your strengths. So for some people, it may be that they love to keep everything in folders and, look at everything within their computer or have a great log of paper and things like that. But whatever suits you, you need to make sure that you keep yourself organized.
Yeah, I'd love to put stuff on my Google Calendar, and I literally just tell myself what I'm going to do throughout the day around whether it's the job search or whatever, but it really keeps me on point. And then the other thing is, the second one is around creating a daily job search routine. And for me, I love to get up and make my tea with my little frothy milk and sit there and start looking through, any of the job alerts that have come through in the morning. It's really, I find it very enjoyable.
And that's probably one thing that I'm not as strong as you are, is on those daily routines and keeping them. I tend to kind of meander and do things a little bit off schedule.
Well, Linda, I'm a little more regimented than you.
You are. I'm a little more loosey-goosey. So the other is find time to not think about your job search. I think it's really important that if you keep yourself too focused on the job search, you're going to overexert and you're just going to get tired of the job search itself. So you need to have breaks and fun things to do. And that may be for some people getting some exercise. For others, it's meeting other people and friends and taking some time to do something for themselves possibly. So find what is that break that you can take in order to get your mind off the job search itself.
Yeah, because the whole job search thing is so overwhelming. You just, all of a sudden you feel like you're going to implode, So you need that mental and physical break. And, the fourth one we talk about is focusing on your positives, which is something I don't do well, right? So, I think this is a really good point to ask Scotty about. How do you do that, Scott?
Yeah, so how do you not become a negative Nancy?
Or Debbie Downer?
It's a good question. And one of the things I do is I get really excited about any new in-mails I get on LinkedIn that might be a new opportunity for me. Another thing is if I've done a new post and I get likes or comments, or it's 1,000 views that I get on it, I get really excited about that. All those things just really kind of drive me. Anything I can do to generate new activity helps me be more positive.
Yeah, and I really like the fact, that you track your, how many people are posting and everything. I mean, the last time you did one, and you're up to 1,200, was it? Or even more, whatever?
Even more.
Pretty amazing.
So that's great that you're tracking things. And that gets to number 5, which is about setting reasonable goals and really trying to focus on what you can control. So making sure that you don't try to overreach, and make sure that things are achievable, and that will keep that positive, spin going, along with don't pick things that you have absolutely no control of. So for example, don't say that you're going to get X amount of calls from recruiters, because you have no idea how many recruiters are going to call you, and that's just going to give you a negative attitude about that.
Yeah, number 6 is spending time networking in person. And for me, I'm totally off the grid when it comes to this. So Scotty, tell us a little bit more about that.
I like to try to find some events during the month that I can go to and meet some new people. I also like to take that a step further and see if we can do any in-person networking from the people that I enjoy that I meet at those events.
Right, so number 7 then is to volunteer. Find ways to give back. And that makes you feel good that you've given back in some way to the community or to an organization, something that you really love to do. Also, it talks about expanding that network. And maybe, Scott, you might want to talk about that. Volunteering is actually also an opportunity to broaden your network, too, at the same time.
Sure. Certainly, when you get involved in a group that is doing volunteering, there may be other people that are experts that also know people, and by developing those relationships can lead to some kind of new opportunity, whether it's with a company that they might run or through the organization or somewhere externally that they have people that they know.
Yeah, and sometimes you can make those connections in the most unlikely place, right? So
Exactly.
you never know. You never know. And number 8 is join a job search group. What the hell is that, Scott?
A job search group can be one of two things. It can be a group of individuals that meet on a regular basis, maybe once a month or twice a month, or they might meet every week, and they may have a speaker or some kind of organized activity that takes place. The other thing that search group may entail is accountability between two people. And they may have a set of accountability partners that kind of watch after each other to make sure that they're making progress each week in their job search.
So do you think in these job search groups, as you just described it, that there is more bonding that occurs because there's this common...
Well, it's a way for people to get an uplift every week, every month. So some people go to one a week, maybe several a month. One thing that I've heard is you really don't want to go to too many because then you're spending too much time with people that aren't employed. So you want to get out and get into some environments of networking that you're actually with employed people.
So Scott, what are these groups made up of? Like, who's actually attending these? Are you competing with people?
No, in general, no. You're bonding with the greater group, and when you do have an accountability partner, they're there to lift you up, and they're there to help you push yourself in terms of your goals weekly.
All right, and we also did have 2 full podcasts in season 1 called Getting Social. Remember that, Shelley?
I remember it, Lynn.
And we had Prem and Scotty talk about it. So we actually do have 2 episodes that if people are interested about networking groups and this whole idea of getting social, it's episodes 19 and 20. So number 9 is all about celebrating small victories. Pat yourself on the back when you do get a win, whether it be that you get some calls from some recruiters, you get some positive feedback or comments in your LinkedIn profile, you've successfully attended maybe X number of networking events. Like, you should really try to celebrate those wins.
Yeah, and to that as well, not only celebrate the small victories, but the 10th thing we saw was to make sure you see everything as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Try to get out of that Debbie Downer, negative Nancy syndrome, the half empty glass, half full, it should be. But let's get a comment from Scott on this.
One of the things I do is I take an opportunity and see if I can add something before the opportunity and something after the opportunity, and maybe the opportunity itself leads into other offshoots. And for example, I was asked to be on do an hour presentation on LinkedIn to a job search group called Career Pivot, and I did a little LinkedIn article beforehand how excited I was to be there. I was excited, and then I did my presentation, and then I did an after post, and I got a video in the works on something I was researching from some of the questions that occurred. So that's how an opportunity to me leads to even more opportunities. So I see the opportunity as a solid opportunity is not just one opportunity, it's a myriad of opportunities.
So it's really what you make of that. Like, you can't look at that as just one event. You've got to say to yourself, what can I do to broaden that one event? Can I do something before? Can I do something after? Can I do something during it, right? Yeah. To really expand it and, get my network and my connections out there and make more of it than what I had.
And one of the other things that I thought of in terms of this is I'm offered some of the people that attended a half hour of my time to go over their profiles and kind of really let them ask the questions that they want to ask of where they want to go on LinkedIn and what they want their profile to generate for them.
Yeah, and I like